I've got a secret valuation method that I've never ever told anyone before. A secret one, and no one uses.
Drum roll now.
Yeah, no one uses my secret valuation method.
And what is it, Boo?
It's one single figure. I use one figure and it values the whole pharmacy for me. Shocking, isn't it? Yeah. So
what's the figure?
No, I'll get to it. Come on, give me a break.
Hi, I'm Shilpa from Healthcare Plus.
I'm Nitin from Healthcare Plus, and welcome to the Pharmacy Planet podcast.
That was so wrong.
Hello, I'm Shilpa from Healthcare Plus.
I'm Nitin. Welcome to the Pharmacy Planet podcast.
Right, welcome to the Pharmacy Planet podcast. Nitin and Shilpa, if you could just tell us a bit about yourself. Who are Healthcare Plus?
So, Healthcare Plus, me and Shilpa are directors and owners.
Yeah.
And we started out 7 years ago.
You're pretty new to the market, right?
Yeah,
Relatively.
pretty new, but I've been around the block
Right.
a few years.
You sure your missus knows about that one?
Oh, damn, she's here. I didn't realise she's here. So we started out 7 years ago after I left the corporate world.
Yeah.
And we focus primarily on pharmacy sales and regulatory.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got a bit of a not unusual, but a bit of a unique story in terms of starting. So most people, the businesses, especially in pharmacy, they're quite established. Especially pharmacy sales, they're established businesses. Now you guys came left field, out of nowhere. I'd never heard of. Well, I don't think Healthcare Plus as a name was even around then, but I'd never heard of Nitin. Sorry, Nitin, I'd never heard of you. But anyway, I'd never heard of. I'd never heard of Nitin, and then all of a sudden, pharmacies are becoming for sale, and a lot of them are through. You got to contact Nitin, or Nitin is selling them, and so yours is a bit of a unique journey, right? So, how did you end up in pharmacy sales?
Probably take you right back to how I ended up in pharmacy. So
Yeah,
I
go
got
on.
qualified in pharmacy 32 years ago.
Dude, I didn't even know you were a pharmacist. You're
Wow.
a pharmacist.
Interesting,
And
Boo.
You mean after all that?
I'm a
All this
pharmacist.
time you've been working with
I'm
it.
a pharmacist,
I didn't even-
still on the register.
No way.
So I've done my CPD end of October.
Yeah.
So yeah, qualified as a pharmacist 32 years ago.
Right,
Did
okay.
the traditional pharmacy route, worked in community pharmacy, managed various Lloyd's pharmacy stores near to home. And then at some point, Shilpa gave me some feedback and said, I need to earn some more money.
Right, okay. Which is not unusual. Typical nice husband-wife feedback. there,
So we need to
Yeah.
bring kids up, and we need more money.
Yeah.
So you ain't getting that working in a branch. So what you can do? So then I thought actually I was quite entrepreneurial and business minded.
Okay.
So I thought what else can I do? So I applied for an area manager job in
okay.
Lloyd's. Actually ran Walsall, Black Country, Sutton Coldfield.
All the lovely areas.
Yeah,
All the
yeah,
sunny climes.
The best areas,
Beautiful.
and actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Had a really good time, really good teams in all the stores, and actually we did really well, and we grew the businesses really well. And then I thought, right, okay, I've got out of the day-to-day pharmacy now, so I want to move to head office because obviously we live in Coventry, and Lloyd's head office was in Coventry. So I thought, okay, what jobs are going there? And then luckily somebody was going on maternity leave in the property department. And they said, do you want to come in for 6 months and cover the maternity leave on doing the NHS contract side?
Okay.
So we did that and really enjoyed it. And I thought, I've got a taste for this. And, on the property side, then started learning about deals,
Yeah.
pharmacy acquisitions, divestments, relocations, all that great stuff. And, really enjoyed it.
This was on behalf of Lloyd's Pharmacy
Yeah.
at the time, right?
Yeah.
And so you were employed by Lloyd's Pharmacy. You were working on that side of it at Lloyd's Pharmacy, and then I suppose it was probably the big bang, right? The divestment that with Lloyd's, and I
Yeah.
think that probably changed the game.
Yeah, so at Lloyd's, I was heading up property and development.
Right, okay.
So people think, oh, Nitin was just doing divestments.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was at Lloyd's, we were accountable for moving pharmacies, refitting pharmacies, maintenance
Yeah, okay.
in the pharmacies, and I was even in charge of the staff canteen.
Right.
Which you think, so,
That didn't doing everything.
yeah, so we had a really, really
Yeah.
broad remit.
So if the food wasn't good either, they'd come back to you.
And I tell you what, with a head office of 1,000 people, guess most people had an opinion on the staff canteen.
Yeah.
They wanted to know that. And then divestments was part of that. So a lot of people got to know me then. because as with all corporates, they do a lot of churn on
Yeah.
divestments. Each year, every couple of years, get rid of the bottom end
Okay.
of the pharmacies. Then obviously the pharmacy cuts were kicking in,
Yeah.
and the funding model was becoming less viable
Yeah.
for them. So there was more and more divestments.
Okay.
And then eventually at Lloyd's, I was heading up transformation as well. So they said, "Hang on, Nitin's all right at this stuff.
Yeah.
So let's give him more responsibility." So I was looking at the UK transformation program, reporting straight into the board, and got involved in HR, IT, which was really dangerous, as well as the divestments. And then there was a change, and as all things, when there's a change in corporates, it's time to review what I'm doing. And I thought, right, now's my time probably to leave the corporate career. Had a great time, 20 plus years in the corporate world, made loads of really good friends actually. And right, okay, let's go. What should we do now? So I left
Okay.
in 2019. I thought, what should we do? Don't know. So month one was just drinking lots of coffee.
I thought you meant drinking loads of alcohol. Oh, no, coffee, right?
There was that as well.
Yeah,
I think. So daytime was definitely coffee, and just meeting a lot of the contacts, because by now I'd built up a
Yeah.
huge network, and people started to recognise who we were. So I thought, right, what should we do? So I thought, right, let's set up a consultancy. And pretty much my expertise was pharmacy sales and regulatory, so new contracts, relocations, all that sort of stuff. Let's set up a consultancy that deals with that. So we set healthcare up, and actually that's where the plus came in as well,
All right. Okay.
because I had some other skills in procurement and maintenance and
Yeah.
setting up canteens.
Yeah.
And so I thought, let's call it healthcare. So the objective was predominantly healthcare.
Yeah.
But I thought the plus bit, I thought actually I can help other businesses around strategy and stuff as well, which we still do bits of, but it's not the core business.
Okay.
And then we set up, so that it was just me working out the bedroom. And then suddenly some of these corporates, example Lloyd's, decided they wanted to sell
Yeah.
lots of stores.
Yeah.
And then I realised I can't do this on my own.
Yeah.
I was drowning.
Enter
And-
Shilpa, right?
And I said to Shilpa, "You're not doing anything, are you?"
Right, okay.
The good old question with the missus.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
should talk to my missus. She does nothing too.
Yeah.
But yeah, go.
Yeah, so my background, Boo, is I used to be in recruitment.
Okay.
I had my own recruitment company.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, so it was quite a sizable company. Then I
Wow.
exited in 2017.
Oh, so you've had a full working career before this.
I was in the corporate world before, and then 8 years I had my own company.
Oh my God. And all that time you had to carry knitting.
Well, no, then I exited, and then I went into other property investments.
Okay.
So I had a really good work-life balance actually.
Okay.
And then Nitin comes along and he goes, right, do you want to get involved in this? And I said, all right, let's do it. And it's been good fun,
Yeah.
but it can be challenging as well. Working with your husband, living with your husband.
I can imagine. I mean, I couldn't even dream of working with my wife. That would be difficult. It is difficult when you're all day and at home as well. It's hard work.
Yeah.
But I think when the Lloyd's divestments, or when a lot of these corporate divestments happened, it was almost like explosive. The number of pharmacies that hit the market all at the same time, right? That was explosive. So I'm always a bit of a business fan, and I love the way businesses grow. I just love it when they grow and why they grow. And sometimes it's just sheer, whether it's luck or whether it's circumstance, or you just never know. It's right time, right place.
Absolutely.
The fact
Yeah.
that actually you had been in that market, you've been working a corporate, you'd known everything, but you had no idea that there was going to be this whole massive churn of pharmacies, right?
No.
So this whole thing, I find it fascinating the way businesses can just explode from nothing. But as it exploded, you couldn't handle the workload, and enter the missus to come save the day, right, Shilpa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously Shilpa joined the ranks.
Yeah.
And with a recruitment background was a natural talking
Yeah.
to customers.
Yeah,
Do you know what,
yeah.
pharmacy sales is about talking to customers.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
making
it-
connections, right? Networking.
Absolutely.
It's the connections. And then we thought, hang on, we're still busy here.
Yeah.
There's not enough family in the business yet.
Yeah.
There's only the two of us. And then my youngest son Aman was taking a year out before he started university.
Yeah.
And we said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I want to travel around the world." I said, "I don't think you are. Yeah. You're going to be helping us with these pharmacy sales." So suddenly he joined the business, And then at this point, Nikhil, who now heads up our regulatory side, I mean, my eldest son, he was doing, he'd done a mathematics degree and got into tax accounting, and he was in his tax job. And then we said, look, we still can't. The three of us can't cope now. So can you leave for 6 months and just join us and help us out?
Yeah.
So he came across as well.
Yeah.
And that ended up being permanent.
Yeah.
But initially it was the four of us and Joe, who works for me, who used to work with me at Lloyd's.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant. And so we started growing.
Yeah.
And suddenly we had a team.
Okay, I'm going to get into some nitty gritty because you guys are here and you guys are experts in pharmacy sales. Yeah. So I'm going to just get into some pharmacy sales nitty gritty, right? So pharmacies, how much are they worth? How do you value a pharmacy? How does it work?
God. Right. How long's a piece of string?
Right.
Right. So I'm going to give you the politician answer there.
Give me, like, so I come in, I might have, let's say, £1 million worth of sales. I think is worth 1.2 million. Yeah, I've come to Nitin saying actually it's worth 1.2, but I want you to sell it for 1.4. So what would you say it's worth? So there's many factors, whether you use EBITDA, whether you use location, whether you use the value of sales. So how do you guys sit there and value it, and how do you know it's on market?
Yeah. So look, the usual. You're a numbers guy, but the main numbers. EBITDA wise, that'd be great just to value a business on EBITDA.
Yeah.
Right? That's got steady EBITDA for a number of years.
Yeah.
But guess what? That's not always the real world.
Yeah.
Because businesses don't always have a steady EBITDA. Obviously, with the funding challenges in pharmacy, costs rising, and other factors. And the smaller businesses, being honest, have zero EBITDA. Right? So let's be
have to say that. Even the smaller business have what you mean is they're losing money. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
The smaller business
so
are losing money.
So let's do an EBITDA multiple of nothing. So obviously that doesn't work. So that's where the terminology started coming in the sector, where we're using percentage of turnover, pence in a pound.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
Because a pence in a pound. So you could have a million turnover pharmacy.
Yeah.
And somebody say, the market's 70 pence in a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the rent in one might be 5,000 and another pharmacy it might be 50,000.
Yeah. So
it's not factoring that in. So you've got to factor all those things. But it's good to use that as a ratio, as a sense check.
Okay.
And then the number one factor, the number one secret, if you like, that drives the valuation of the business is location.
Okay.
That's
so what happens is we get a lot of pharmacies come our way to turn around and say, do you want to buy these pharmacies? Now, obviously, when it comes to what the market price is the market price, but what it's worth to us is what it's worth to us. So
Absolutely.
we don't really care what the market price is. If someone wants to pay more than what we want to pay for it, well, it's not. Yeah, it's not. And I've got a secret valuation method that I've never ever told anyone before. A secret one, and no one uses.
Drum roll now.
Yeah, no one uses my secret valuation method.
And what is it, Boo?
It's one single figure. I use one figure, and it values the whole pharmacy for me. Shocking, isn't it? Yeah. So
what's the figure?
No, I'll get to it. Come on, give me a break. I'm going to build up to it, right? Okay, I'm going to give you some history. Let me give you some background of where this one figure has managed to tell me and everything, and guide me through my whole buying process for the last 20 years. Yeah. So what happens is, right, when it comes to pharmacies, obviously you have all the standard costs that you have as standard. Whether it's rent rates, you've got to look at everything. Generally, you look at it in the round. But I think there's one figure that I find that if it's not correct, I cannot work with that pharmacy personally. It's almost like my gateway figure, and that generally that one figure, and it varies from person to person, but I've got a way of figuring out what it would be to me, which is gross margin. So the gross margin is once you've obviously once you've read this it's not for you. I know you guys know. Some other people. You know what I mean? Go and explain what gross.
Start taking notes now. And
explain what gross margin is. Why am I explaining? Why am I explaining gross margin?
Proper training.
Do you know what I mean? Go on. Do you want to explain what gross margin is?
You're taking your total sales, whether it's from prescriptions, services, over the counter, and whatever else you've got in there, less the cost of doing those sales.
Less the cost, which is basically the price of drugs. The price of drugs. Now, what happens is the gross margin can vary from 35% to 25%. 35% gross margin is a good pharmacy, 25% is a bad pharmacy. You tend to find if it's a low gross margin, it's very difficult to make this up in any other form. You can do a lot of services, but to make that up is hard work. You
Yeah.
can't actually get there easily. And even then, if you bought the pharmacy that was doing 35% gross margin, you wouldn't have to do that much work. It's a fraction of the amount of work. Yeah. The problem is gross margin is buying, and everyone buys at different values. So it's very difficult to work out what your gross margin would be on a shop, on a pharmacy. But there's one figure in those PPDs that I always look at, and it's my gateway one, and that's average item value. And the reason why I look at average item value is mainly because if it's a high average item value, I know that they don't have as many category M products in there. It's a lot more brands, and my margin's going to be reduced. So as well as that, if there's 2 or 3 monthly prescribing by the GPs, the average item goes up. So if the average item is about £8, great, gateway criteria met. If the average item is £11, £12, I don't really want to know this pharmacy. So this pharmacy could be turning up at 1.5 million turnover, and it has a high average item value. Sometimes I'll turn around and say, I didn't want to buy it. And people don't understand. Why do you know, this is going only for 60p in the pound. It's like, I can't work with it. I can't do anything with this. And they don't get it that I cannot overcome that lack of margin, because it can be done. So an owner manager can buy it. They can work with GPs. You can change prescribing. You can do a lot of stuff, and you can do a lot of extra services on the side to try and do it. It's hard work. Yeah. And that is that gateway criteria I use, and that affects a lot of the pharmacy. So although every pharmacy might be, let's say, 1 million turnover, and they all sell for roughly similar prices, I value them completely different just because of that. But anyway, that's my secret formula.
That's really good.
Yeah, I've been using it, but now everyone knows. So basically, my little advantage that I've had for the last 20 years is now blown up in my face. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to pharmacies, I always say that there's no such thing really. There is for us personally, but there's no such thing as a good or bad pharmacy. I think there's good or bad operators. So what happens is, there's a pharmacy and someone will say, yeah, that's a really good pharmacy. And it's like, look, if 5 people ran that pharmacy in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, you're going to have 5 completely different outcomes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you think about it, so sometimes I'll turn around and say, look, it's okay, but it's not the business. It's you. Have you got what it takes to want to make this a success? Because the business can only do so much. Just make sure it's not a complete lemon. Right? Make sure it's not a complete lemon that's going to drag you down. Other than that, it's all about you, because like what you make of this, there's no point me saying it's a bad pharmacy, because you might come in and make it stellar. Yeah. Whereas someone else can take a stellar pharmacy and make it pants, right?
Yeah. No, and we've seen it with the pharmacies we've sold.
Okay.
Some people have made them pants. The positive way. Less of those examples.
You've been selling lemons again.
They're making the lemons into more profitable lemons, shall we say.
Lemonade.
So, you've seen some businesses where people 2 years ago that required doing 4,000 items, they're working in the pharmacy, they're now doing 16,000 items.
Wow.
Right? And you're going, how's that possible?
That person's going to be knackered, though.
Yeah.
They're going to have lost their hair.
Yeah.
They're going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Their wife's going to be in the business. Their kids are going to be in the business. Their family
and I was chatting to a buyer yesterday, and I said, I was trying to sell him this business. It's a 7-day-a-week business.
Yeah.
And I said, it's a really good business, really profitable, fits your profile of what your group's after. And then in the end, he said, oh, Nitin, the only problem is it's like Saturday and Sunday long hours.
Yeah.
And I said, what's the problem with that?
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't think my wife will let me operate another one over the weekends.
The other thing I want to come to is a lot of first-time buyers will always turn around and say, I don't get it. The people will all not sell to me. They'll end up selling to a group operator. Now, me being a group operator, I can fully understand why no one would want to sell to a first-time buyer quickly. Yeah. Your hard work. Yeah. But do you want to just tell us from your point of view, you don't want to put them off, Nitin, because it might be your customers. Right? But you want to tell us from your point of view the kind of challenges first-time buyers might have, as opposed to people who've been doing it for years, and why someone who's selling would rather probably sell to a group operator.
I think it's credibility, and also finance. It's first-time buyers understanding the finance, what's involved, because the focus just seems to be on, right, I need to get X amount of deposit. It's not just that, it's the cash flow you'll need when the doors open, you go in, you've got staff to pay, you've got rent to pay. The money coming back from the NHS is probably going to be 3 months if you're lucky. And it's the whole process of getting all your systems in place, etc. But we do hold their hand. We do on the finance side, we steer them to credible finance brokers who can help them. But that is the biggest thing, is the finance.
You think that's where they fall down a lot of the time? I think there's a lot more jitteriness, obviously, because they're a first time buyer. So it might require a lot more hand holding from
Yeah.
So in terms of from your perspective, it's obviously going to be a lot more hand holding if somebody's
Yeah.
never done something before, right?
And that's
but you
our
guys are there to
process.
help them, right?
Yeah, that's our process. So we just don't sell the pharmacy. Every week we have a call with the buyer, with the seller, and we talk them through change of ownership. Have you, spoken to the landlord, whatever needs doing, that we are there for them. And until the doors open, and it might be, look, I need advice on PMR suppliers or what have you. So with our contacts, we pull them in and we help them. But the great thing is that some of these first time buyers, and what I really find satisfying about the job I do, and what I think we both do, don't we, is we've seen these people blossom. So the ones who get it right, they've bought their first one, 18 months they're buying their second, they're refinancing because they've built the equity.
Yeah.
And they're, and we've got one chap that we're working with, he's on his 14th or 15th one in a space of 3 years.
Blimey.
Yeah.
And seeing his journey and how he's developed as a person
Yeah.
is so satisfying.
And
Yeah.
it's also, I mean, these first timers, they've got great stories, and it's like how we're changing their lives.
Yeah.
It's not just another pharmacy they're buying.
Yeah, yeah.
And suddenly you've seen
It's
them.
important. This is
Yeah.
special.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's
This is
special.
like that.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
still special. We told a first-time buyer last week that their offer had been accepted on the pharmacy.
Yeah.
They're absolutely delighted. They're really excited.
Wait till he starts working.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about it,
Yeah,
that'll go. It's the honeymoon period.
Generally, if I tell a regional multiple they've won a pharmacy, it's like, oh,
All right,
no.
okay.
How are we
Yeah.
going to operate it? Right, we've got to operate it. But also, you go back to sort of like corporates, like, so we've done a lot of corporate sales. They prefer selling to the regional multiples.
Yeah.
Why? Because less hand holding.
Yeah.
Massive, and that could be. From a finance perspective, a lot of
Yeah.
these guys, they'll get cash deals.
Yeah.
They'll take risk around property and everything else. Whereas first timers, they want every box ticked.
Yeah, I can imagine. So it's good that you mentioned the cost of pharmacies and how it starts hitting you straight away, the cost base of a pharmacy. Yeah, and because there's been in the news recently, there's a group, Jutes Pharmacy, that have gone into administration. They've been taken over by Allied. Now Jutes have been having a lot of issues. Now Jutes is, again, I think it's a trading name, so it's within a certain amount of limited companies have gone into administration. Now, I know that they've been sold, but I was looking at a lot of the pharmacies, not for sale, but just looking at them because they'd been closed, a lot of them. They actually have not been open. Now, to take something like that on, you got to have some kahunas. So I know this Allied group has taken them on, but you got to have some serious guts.
Yeah.
Because that is I think the problem is, I mean, from my perspective, the problem is when something's been closed and you open it up, the cost hits you straight away. So you've got your staffing cost straight away, your rent rate, God knows how many, even the landlords, how many deposits are they going to want? How many? It's phenomenal. And then you've got to stock it up as well. You could be hundreds of thousands in per pharmacy, and you've got multiple pharmacies. Wow. That is something else. I don't know how anyone's got the Oh, it's just,
But I think it's a huge
I'm
gamble.
actually worried for them.
Yeah.
I'm
But it's
worried
back
for
to, we're chatting about risk profile,
Yeah.
right? So some operators, I keep talking about risk profile, entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
Right? If you've got those
No
two,
risk, no reward, right?
yeah,
Absolutely.
so it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah,
Right? And that's,
I think people don't realize that if things pan out and there is reward at the end, people don't realize the amount of risks you've taken at the start of any business journey.
Yes.
And the risks are high, whether it's buying that group or even just leaving AH for 20 years or whatever. The risks are high. Yeah, the risks
It's
are
not
high.
only financial, but it's emotional risk and in emotional, and the emotional sacrifices you make
Yep.
to buy that first pharmacy, to set up a business. Our whole family is involved in the business.
Yeah.
We're all driven, but then that can have its challenges as well. you know, and the same with pharmacy businesses as well. You know, we find that the most businesses are family
Yeah.
owned regional multiples,
Yeah.
and they're into sort of second generation now and third generation leading those businesses.
It was so easy to value a pharmacy, even us as a buyer. It was easy to value a pharmacy because a lot of it was based around the NHS contract. With all these private services coming on, for us, trying to value something now, it's got so difficult because sometimes there's certain services that you think I can work with that, I can make them even better. There's certain services I'm thinking, man, I'm going to make this go down the pan if I take this on. So, I mean, for example, something like a lot of pharmacies have started going into aesthetics and stuff like that. So when you do go into something like aesthetics, the customer is really they go in to see their professional and that person. They know the person who's administering them. It's almost like the person you get your I don't know, like haircut from or something. They know they're going to see that person. It's not something that's interchangeable. So how do you guys value something that has a lot of private services that might be a bit more niche, even though that's not really niche, but you know what I mean, right?
A lot more risk attached.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I can't give this a 5-10 year time frame.
No.
I can't look at the EBITDA or net earnings of that and give it a multiple of 7, 8, 9, 10. I used to, when I used to see something that was a bit unusual, I used to give that element of it a multiple of about 2 to 3. That's what I used to give it, max. When it was and even then, that's if I'd want to take it on. So how do you guys approach something like that?
I mean, it's a really good question because we've got a lot of businesses at the moment where the mix is changing. If you think traditionally, what I used to say, NHS 90% services, OTC 10%. But that's increasing now with private services. So there's a nervousness. So the first question people are asking, buyers are asking, where we're selling a pharmacy that's doing high private services, is right. Who's it driven by in the team? Is it that pharmacy? The current pharmacy owner, then you're devaluing straight away. If the pharmacy owner says, I've been doing this for 10 years and everybody knows me, and straight away that's like alarm bells from a valuation perspective. So you start to de-risk. And other times they say, actually, the whole team's trained up, which goes back to the whole workforce thing. People come in and, then it's not just reliant on that pharmacist. So that becomes a big factor. Who's delivering those private services? If you said to me, it's the seller solely, that's a risk to that valuation. Then you're back in that, okay, we're going to devalue that.
The other thing I want to talk about is rents. Especially health centre rents. We've had some stinkers, and we've had to we've sold a couple that had high rent, so moved one that had significantly high rent. We can't make them work. Are the people making high rent? And when we say high rent, what would you call? Oh, nearly whacked the mic there. What would you call high rent for a NHS business in a health centre? What do you call? Because this is all perspective, right?
So, and again, almost taking back a step, right? So why do these high rents exist? These leases were signed 20, 30 years ago. Remember when the government were building new health centres, upgrading GP premises? It was all the rage, and pharmacies were going in. But what was the funding model then? I think it's significantly higher than it is now. So even those rents were high, it didn't matter. And also a lot of them are linked to inflation. Inflation was low. So great. So there's reviews people didn't really feel.
Or linked to patient as well, right? So £3 a patient or whatever it is.
And linked to patient numbers. So, and again, there was no EPS. When those leases were signed, there was no or minimal EPS. And so
that's electronic prescriptions.
Electronic prescriptions. So a health centre would probably capture 60-70% of prescriptions then. Now, a health centre pharmacy doing half that is probably about right. So if you look at, that's gone down. And the rents continue to go. So it's not. I guess it's not fit for purpose. The rental model.
Are you seeing landlords understanding this and them started going downwards? I found that they're still holding firm, and you just got to move.
It's mixed. So we act for landlords.
Okay.
Sometimes for health centres on the other side. And one of my big clients that owns a lot of health centres around the country, they said, listen, we just want to be fair with the pharmacy. So
That's a first.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
This
yeah,
land,
yeah,
it
absolutely.
definitely was an
yeah.
NHS Property Services,
yeah.
because I can tell you that, because we've had to deal with NHS
Yeah.
Property Services,
Yeah.
and I sit there
Yeah.
thinking, you know what, you number
Yeah.
one, they're not being fair,
Yeah.
and I think it's ridiculous the fact that actually
Yeah.
the NHS is the cause of all the difficulty in terms of funding, and then they try and give
Yeah.
you rent, which is
And that's
ridiculous.
it.
But anyway, yeah.
So that's a very friendly
Dig at
landlord that
NHS
probably
Property
owns a lot. So if you're a landlord of one of theirs,
Yeah.
they'll look at it fairly. So they want a tenant at the end of the day,
Yeah.
providing services in their health centre.
Yeah.
But some other landlords, maybe like the ones you mentioned,
Like NHS Property
Yeah.
Services.
So
Yeah.
trickier. So they're sticking. But why are they doing that? Because they outsource
Yeah.
for advice on rentals, and people giving that advice is still using old methodology,
Yeah.
which is 20 years out of date now.
Yeah.
And that's changing, but it's not happening quick enough.
Yeah, I mean they can only use new leases signed, and slowly they're
Yeah.
all coming out
Yeah.
of the wash.
So a
aren't
lot of
they?
people are talking and negotiating, but how many have come out the other end? There's not many.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of now loans, quickly borrowing, what's the rate? What are people getting for pharmacy businesses?
2% above base, I think,
Yeah.
is
I
seems
think
to be
that's-
the sort of the
that's
norm.
good.
Is that's what it's settled down to?
Yeah.
Two,
Yeah.
2.5, I'd say.
But it depends what operator you are and what relationship you've got with the bank as well. So if you're a first time buyer, you're not really known in the industry,
Yeah.
you know, it can be a bit more difficult, or you're more seen as a risk profile.
Yeah.
But, you know, if it's somebody, you know, maybe a touch would go when, you know, you've got more relationships with the bank
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you've got leverage. So, but 2% seems to be
Seems to be
around the norm.
around the circa around 2%. Okay. And in terms of what's the appetite like for lenders? Are they still keen on pharmacy, or are they being a lot more tentative?
I think there still is appetite for pharmacy with lenders. I think it's capturing those lenders at the right moment in time. You know, so
After
you know,
the team has just won
Yeah.
the game or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's right.
So there still I think people need to shop around.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, there's absolutely there still is healthcare. There still is appetite generally as a whole, and pharmacy.
Yeah, I think high street banks are still lending, right? That's the headline.
Yeah.
You see it. But what we're seeing as agents is there's more hurdles the guys are going to jump over.
Okay.
So they're absolutely still lending.
Covenants and stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
I mean, like quite literally, they're just making
Yeah,
it.
it's just more and more information needed
Yeah.
off the bar. They're interested like the person as well, which isn't wrong actually.
Yeah.
You know, what's your business plan? How are you going to drive? They're trying to understand the person. So we actually recommend, rather than going direct to lenders, go through brokers.
Yeah. What kind of so broker? I've never used a broker
Yeah.
for pharmacy deals, but I'm assuming it's easier because then they can hit 2, 3,
Yeah.
4 lenders with just, and it's easier
Yeah.
for them. They
There
know
you go.
what information the
That's
lenders
it.
need.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
And then they can do because the important, remember, especially when you're buying poor performing stores,
Yeah.
it's all about what you're going to bring to the table
Yeah.
with that pharmacy. So they'll help you build that forecast
All right. Okay.
that would be believable for the banks to lend.
Okay. The other side, I mean, we talked a lot about valuations because it's interesting. Everyone wants to know
Yeah.
about the money side
Yeah.
of things. Regulatory side of things. Now, this is a boring side of things. I don't like it, but it has to be done, right? And you guys specialize in regulatory side of things. Now, you're going to have to keep the viewers engaged
Yeah.
while explaining what I mean by regulatory. Who wants to handle this one?
Listen can
She-
handle that
Who
one.
wants to handle
Sure,
this?
because Shilpa's got a view on regulatory. Yeah, so what are the regulatory team doing? So regulatory, when we talk about regulatory
Yeah.
in our world, so otherwise known as market entry. So we're talking about if you want to do anything with a pharmacy, so
Yeah.
whether that's changing an ownership,
Yeah.
whether that's moving it,
Yeah.
whether that's merging it, or dare I say even new contract opportunities.
Yep.
So any of that we help clients with, and it's highly regulated. So you've got to deal with the NHS rules and regulations around that, and statutory periods around that, and GPHC as well. So we deal with the NHS side and the GPHC side for the customers, and that's the side Nikhil leads in the business, and he's got his team now that drive that forward. And the reason we've really grown that side as well is what we find for a client. It's like in all walks of life, isn't it? We want to be a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
So if you come to us for a pharmacy sale, we want you in the future to use us for regulatory, to move a pharmacy, and that's what happens quite a lot.
Well, yeah, you build up your network,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So.
But the interesting thing about regulatory, we've got some regional operators that Nitin sort of is the safeguard.
yeah.
so to speak. So they'll be like, "Have you done this? Have you done that?" And knitting's, they're opening their shop and what have you, you know. And knitting's like, "Have you done this?" And they're like, "Oh no, can you sort it out for me? Can you sort it?" So we're like the sort of knitting's the SOS, and we get phone calls at sort of 10 o'clock at night. "I haven't done this, I haven't done that," and it's like, "Don't worry, it'll get sorted."
Well, I think this is probably your USP as a company, right? So in terms of pharmacy sales and regulatory, right? There's actually not a lot of players in the market. Yeah, in terms of the industry, there's not a massive amount. Yeah, and I think generally, and they are all good. They are all good, right?
Absolutely.
So everyone there, because I mean, especially when it comes to pharmacy sales, you use everyone, right? So you know everyone, and everyone's a good bunch. I've got to say, we've been quite blessed in the industry for the people we have. But in terms of uniqueness, I don't think any one of them that I can think of off the top of my head, none of them are a family business. Yeah, strictly only a family business. Yeah, whereas you guys are, and I think that probably means a bit more personal touch. Mobile phone, I can call you anytime, right, Nitin?
Yeah, you can. I've just resigned to it now.
Might be on a
So
beach.
you're just used to it.
And that is look. We are everybody's accessible, but family members in particular. So weekends and every weekend we'll have calls. Evenings we'll have calls, or we'll be on WhatsApp.
It must be fun family dinner, right?
That
That must be fun time. Like when you got literally the whole family involved in the same
You know, we
business.
try and have I try and have right an hour. We're not going to talk about work. We
Does it work?
maximum 15 minutes, and it just comes back. But you know what? It's so nice when I take a step back and I look at everybody flourishing. You know, the boys are flourishing, and we do have heated debates as well. You know, but at the end of the day, everybody has the same motive to drive the business forward. You know, and give a good service. I think now we're working with knitting and coming from an outside pharmacy. You know, I think. And I'm not just being soft here, but I think, look, pharmacy are a great bunch of entrepreneurs. I really do.
I think so.
I think they're a great bunch of entrepreneurs. You know, we've built up some really good relationships with customers who are now friends. They come in, they'll ring me and say, "Oh, we're around the corner. We're coming. Put the samosas on." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You know, you're welcome." And you know, and I think that's what we've built. You know, and we want to continue building that.
I think this podcast has gone really well, but Nitin walked in today and he ruined it right from the start, right? So I don't know whether the viewers know, but we have a pool table downstairs, and every now and again someone comes in and says they want a game of pool. Now, I don't know whether you know, Nitin, but it's like nice to not beat the person whose actual podcast it is. And I thought, Nitin, he might come in and he might be okay, but he's a phenomenal player. And then afterwards, he didn't tell me, but he wanted to be a professional snooker player, right? So it's like, it's the sort of thing you want to mention to someone before you have a game of pool with them. Do you know what I mean? He just came and annihilated me. I sat there thinking, I think I'm going to have all 7 balls on the table. And I wasn't expecting it because he turns up in a suit. He's been a healthcare. And I was thinking, right, well, he wants to play pool. We'll have a game of pool. It'll be all right. And then he just went, different mode. Went like, it's like something else. What happened, Nitin? You could have been a professional snooker player. What happened?
I mean, that's the story, right? So, I mean, I went into a really, I studied at a really rough inner city school in Coventry.
Right. Okay.
That's the only definition. Everybody will know the name of that school, right? Just by that definition. So if you turned up to lessons, that was frowned upon.
Right. Okay.
So the objectives was, and you know, everybody now talks about private education. I had private education back then. Our class sizes were about A level. Our class sizes were 5 or 6 because nobody in that school did A levels.
Right. Okay.
But as a result of that, what happened was that there was a snooker hall down the road from the school. So every lunchtime would be down the snooker hall. So this is at sort of 14, 15 years old. And so what you suddenly found was you were playing snooker every day for an hour. Well, and sometimes it turned into 2-3 hours. Apart from once, I remember physics A level, there's a class of 5 and only one person turned up to the class. So that chap said, the teacher goes, "Where is everybody?" And he grasses all up. He said, "They're all down the snooker hall."
Right. And no way.
Yeah, and this physics teacher, came down the snooker hall, gave us all a slap, and got us back into. So basically, from a very young age, we played, and like with anything, I guess you do if you practice enough, you get pretty good at it. And then when I went to university, I continued to play as well. But even before that, you know, when you're 16, you know, my parents really supported us and wanted us to study, and they said, "What do you want to do?"
Yeah.
And I said to my mum, I want to be a professional snooker player.
As you do.
As you do.
Yeah.
Then,
She's
and,
probably wondering, he spends all his
yeah,
time
yeah,
at
yeah,
school.
yeah.
How does he have
How
time
does
to
he
be
do-
yeah,
Exactly.
I want
I
to do something like this.
As to play snooker.
Yeah.
And at that point, she said, get a proper job.
Right.
And then the proper job was that network my parents had, a lot of the children pharmacists. And what they learned from pharmacy was it was almost a guaranteed job
Yeah.
post-university. So they said, right, you're doing pharmacy. Okay.
So that's your snooker
Career
over.
Yeah,
Instantly.
and I continued it and still improved at university. To be fair, I was president of the snooker club at university.
You'd think, when someone's playing, you'd think they'd mention something like that. You know what I mean? Not a friendly game of pool. And I'm sitting there thinking, hold on, I'm just getting destroyed here. What's
I
just
know.
happened?
When we bought a house, Boo, one of the rooms, he goes, I'm going to have a snooker table. I said, well, snooker table won't fit because we'll do an extension. I said, you're not
An
over my dead
extension.
body. We do have a pool table at home.
Well, I'm not surprised. Judging the way he plays, bloody hell.
Yeah, so it's one of those. Look, I'd love to now still continue to play, but I mean, hardly play now.
You hardly. Well, you could have fooled me. Right. The other thing I've got to mention to you guys, the podcast has been extremely popular, very popular, and what we're finding is that a lot of people are coming on board, and a lot of our guests are coming, and the exposure that they're getting, especially for companies if they represent what have you, is really, really, really good, which is good because I'd like to promote pharmacies, anything that's happening within pharmacy world anyway. But with all this exposure, I thought, right, let me see if I can get something else out of my guests. And I thought, it's time for a shakedown now.
Yeah.
So what I decided was, if guests are coming and we're going to give them exposure, I've asked I'm going to start asking our guests to see if they can donate something to charity and something that's close to them. And we give you guys exposure, and at the same time, there's something good that can come out of it at the same time. So, Nitin, what's your charity? Why and how much you donate?
How much are we donating? Right, so
Look at them looking at each other.
I actually support a couple of charities. Look, I'm part of Godiva Lions, which is an international charity. So they do local support local charities right through to international work. So I'm part of that. But the other charity that I'm involved with at the moment, where I'm a trustee, which is going to do great things, is a company called Tiffin Waro.
Okay, and what does Tiffin Waro do?
Right, so Tiffin Waro is...
They give you Tiffin, the food?
Yeah, the food. Food prep and delivery service.
Right, okay.
And everybody's going on, there's millions of those. That's called
Like
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats.
And all that. So where this came about, a few of us like-minded people, we thought, where's the gap in the market within our communities initially, but it was focused on elderly. There's a lot of elderly people now that live alone or even as a couple. Yeah. And guess what? They don't eat properly. Yeah. They'll say, what shall I cook? I'm not going to cook, especially in that Asian culture. Yeah. They'll go, I don't cook, I'll just have a slice of toast. Yeah. Right. So they're not eating nourishing food. So we've seen that with our own eyes with family. So we said, for those people, how about we prepare food? Yeah. Might start a couple of days a week. Yeah. Send them a tiffin and get it delivered. But here's the thing.
I would assume free of charge. It's a charity, right?
If
you turned around and said, "There's a good little money on it," hold on.
It's £50. £50. So what we're saying for pensioners, we're going to do it. We want to do it free of charge, right? Absolutely. So we know, and their families actually know, their parents are getting a nourishing meal. A couple of times a week, delivered to their doorstep. Yeah. And to fund that, obviously, we're dependent on donations. So everybody listening to podcasts, feel free to donate.
Yeah, well, just send us send us the details and we'll stick it at the bottom.
Yeah, so feel free to donate. But also, we said the youngsters, you and me, Boo. Yeah. We said, we might want a tip. We might fancy a tiffin. Yeah. Right. So we said, but we're going to pay. Okay. So we'll pay whatever it is. Yeah. So, but that's normal, right? A lot of people offer that service. Yeah. So there's a paid service, but that's to.
But obviously it's for the charity.
It's
right?
for the charity.
Yeah. So this is not for profit.
Yeah.
And we've done our numbers and stuff, so we know what we need to make it happen. So we're about to launch that actually in January. Okay. So we're going through all the approvals. So Tiffin Waro set up. Okay. And how much would you like to donate for that then? So we're going to. I
think we'll donate £1,000 initially.
Well, that's great. that. What a great, there you go, £1,000. So I'm going to make sure this podcast, anyone who comes on, I'm going to keep
Yeah.
adding it up. So this is right now, £1,000 pledge. Good one.
Yeah.
Now my side hustle. I still got my merch
Yeah.
going on. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've still got, what do you think? So,
Yeah,
this
it's
one's a bit
brilliant.
tight. It's a bit tight, but I should have got one size bigger. But yeah, I've still got my merch happening. Even though I've got all this merch, you'll be shocked to learn this. I've actually sold zero, absolutely zero. Well,
Really?
we haven't listed it yet, so it's
Oh,
not
right,
really
okay.
gonna. I think it's probably listed. We're supposed to be listing it
Yeah.
imminently, so I've sold zero. So I'm not surprised. Yeah, and to be honest, I think it's going to be fantastic. But just to make sure it is, at the same time, whatever we sell, I'm going to match it in terms of charity as well. So whatever the value of the product is, not the cost price, the value of any of the merch that we sell for Make Pharmacy Great Again, I will match that in terms of charity donations. Yeah. I'm going to be mindful here just in case we sell an absolute shed load and I'll bankrupt myself. Yeah, and the flipping at the lower, so I might have to cap it at some point. Yeah, but I
That'd be
think
a nice problem.
yeah, but not for me. It won't be a nice problem. Do you know what I mean? As I see, so we support a local charity. It's called Alexander Divine. They're in Slough. We've been supporting for years, and I think we'll probably put anything that we donate towards them. But yeah, so hopefully some good comes out of the podcast as well, right?
No, it's brilliant.
Absolutely.
No, it's
Where
really
can
good
I
to hear.
buy?
The merch.
Yeah.
Pharmacyplanet.com.
Perfect.
Pharmacyplanet.com
We'll take
forward
10
slash-
hoodies.
We haven't got the link. Right. Okay. /nothing. Right. We're
T
gonna have
/TBC.
All right. Just look at the
TBC.
link below here now. You
Okay.
can buy it from there. Yeah.
Okay, we will
Right.
buy hoodies
Yeah.
for our team.
Yeah. You can buy hoodies for the team. Buy anyone for. Right, guys.
There you
Well,
go.
thanks for coming on the Pharmacy Planet podcast.
No.
Thank you.
No, thank you for having us.
Oh, sugar! I forgot all about it. Give me the questions.
Oh,
These podcasts are going to be getting longer and longer, isn't it? Just start clapping about, it's going up. I don't know whether you guys seen the last podcast with Adele, but we are now AI powered podcast, right? So
Okay.
it's all about artificial intelligence powered podcast.
triple the valuation now.
Yeah, triple valuation now. So we've gone from 0 to 0.
A bit like our pharmacy valuation.
Yeah. So now because we're AI powered, I've pulled out my AI powered questions
Okay.
for you guys. So you know how the quickfire questions work. Is this like, I'm not sure which one who to direct this at. I'm gonna just have to. I'll have to.
Oh,
just,
Shilpa will do
I'll,
it.
I'll have to alternate. Yeah. Right, Shilpa. Have perfect hair day every day or never have to do laundry again. This is
Which one would I prefer?
Yeah, this is one of the sexist questions because now I've given it to Shilpa. Do you know what I mean? What's the laundry with it? She's probably sitting there thinking he does the laundry. Why are you asking me? I don't have to do it anyway.
He does the ironing, actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I'm a top ironer.
All right, okay. All right. So pool player, pool shark, and top ironer.
Yeah.
Right, got it. Right. Anyway, so in your case, have perfect hair day every day or never have to do laundry again.
Never have to do laundry.
Why never have to do laundry? You want perfect hair, right? All the
No,
time.
but I just talk to customers, don't I? They don't see me. Could be in my pajamas and I'm talking to
All right,
them.
okay. Okay, so all right, Nitin, you're up next. Stay in with a takeaway or night out with friends?
Depends which friends.
I meant your pharmacy customers. No,
Oh, 100%. Out with those.
no, but go on. Stay in with takeaway or night out with friends?
Oh, staying with takeaway.
Staying with really?
Yeah.
You're such a sociable person. I can't imagine him being staying with takeaway.
No,
I
I'll
think
be
he's
out
very
with
nice.
friends
Are you saying that
anytime.
just because
Just
she's
because-
here?
yeah.
And you make it seem like you don't like to go out
Yeah,
normally.
no.
And,
I
I
like
prefer
staying-
to stay in.
always home at 10 o'clock at night.
It's
think
great. I
sometimes he
work with my
forgets.
family and I want to stay at home with my family and I
family.
never want to leave my family home ever.
Yeah.
Yes, Shilpa.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
that's
ever.
the answer.
That's the
That-
answer.
that's the
Yeah,
answer.
Okay, cool. Shilpa, someone gives you £1 million. What is the first thing you're buying?
What's the first thing I'm buying?
Yeah, this one's going to go to you as well, Nitin. So one at a time.
What's the first thing I'm buying?
You've been given £1
I'll,
million.
I'll, I'll be giving some of it to our charity, Tifinwaro,
Yeah.
and I think I would get my car, my new car.
And what would your new car be?
It'll be a Porsche.
Ooh, lovely. Why can't you buy a Porsche anyway, Nitin?
She's got one already.
Oh right, you mean another one? How many do you
A
need? For
replacement.
God's sake.
Replacement.
Do you know what I mean?
Downsizing because Shilpa uses
Go
current
on.
Porsche as a bumper car.
Thing is- So, Nitin, you got £1 million. What's the first thing you're buying? I reckon it's a pool hall, snooker hall. Is it
Snooker
snooker hall? No, what you buy for £1 million?
What do I buy for £1 million?
Pharmacy.
yeah, let's wrap up. Look, so definitely give as much as I can to charities.
Yeah.
Definitely. Look, life's been good to us, so I think we're at stage. Definitely want to start giving back. So that's the.
I think I'm very. When you know who's last week, like I was saying, I had Adele on, and honestly, the amount of stuff that she does, community minded, and it made me
Yeah.
think, man, I'm doing nothing.
Yeah.
I'm doing nothing. I spend most of my time just watching football, chilling. Then it's time to give back, right?
Yeah, and that, and definitely rather than materials, I think trouble. We
Yeah.
love our trouble.
Yeah.
So I think world's a huge place.
Yeah.
So
So where's next on the destination list with your laptops?
Maldives.
In the right time zones.
Maldives. I'll tell you a funny
laptop.
story. Farouk was going to the Maldives. I think it was last year.
Right.
And,
that's our business partner.
That's
by the
your
way.
business partner,
Yeah. Before
yeah.
someone says, "Why is someone random fruit?" yeah.
And then he was sending me live pictures. This is my view. And I said to Nitin, you've got to take me where Farouk's taken his wife. Otherwise, we're not going to be together.
Right.
So we're going.
So you're going.
So
When's that next year?
At the 2 weeks.
next week?
Oh,
I think.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh right. Okay. Over
Yeah.
Christmas.
Just before.
Prior.
So just before. Yeah.
Yeah,
I suppose
too
things-
expensive over Christmas. can't go over Christmas.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on the Pharmacy Planet podcast,
Thank
guys. It's been great having you. Thanks.
Been
Thanks
great
for having
having
us.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Cheers.